So I grew up in a church that was very absent-minded to my youthful needs. There were many programs and plans that were geared to the adults of the church, but they didn't really seem to be satisfying to my needs. So I didn't really seem to fit into many of those activities. There is this story in the book of Acts chapter 20 about the Apostle Paul going to a certain place to meet with some people to break bread. And as they were there, he began to speak to them, and conversation continued, and it went longer and longer as they enjoyed his speech. And it says that there was a young man by the name of Eutychus sitting on a window. Now, a window, you can argue, is on the inside of the house, but you can also argue it's on the outside of the house. And he's sitting on the window, so he is enjoying the music that comes from the inside, the conversation, the sermons, everything on the inside, but he's also enjoying what's happening on the outside. So he's neither inside or outside. He's just sitting on the window. See, there is a spiritual application about this. There are so many people today sitting on windows spiritually, in a condition that you're not really inside of the church, but you're not on the outside. You're scared to leave the church, but you don't really want to commit to the church. It's a window spiritual condition. And while he is there, the church is in their meetings, and they're enjoying the music, the sermons, the fellowship, without even noticing that Eutychus is on the window. But then it says that he fell asleep on the window. And then he fell 3 stories high and was taken up dead. At this point now, the church realizes that Eutychus has fallen out of the window. So it stops. And Paul goes down to where Eutychus was, finds that he is dead. There's a great application here of Paul coming down, stopping the church meeting and coming down to where Eutychus was. And it reminds us of Jesus. Mary Magdalene is brought to him after she was caught in an act of adultery, and she's cast at the feet of Jesus. And what he does is amazing. He actually goes down to her level. He stoops down, the Bible says, and starts to write on the dust, on the ground. Because he knows that she's hurt. He knows the pain and the shame that she is going through. And he wants her to know, I am right here with you. Though everyone else is condemning you, I am right here. Jesus comes down to her level, just as he came down from heaven to rescue humans, to rescue us from sin. He left the worship of angels in heaven, the adoration, the beautiful place, to come down to the world and be rejected by his own people. But he came down to our level to save us. Now the story says that Paul not just came down, but he embraced Eutychus. And he said, do not be troubled, there's still life in him. See, he embraced him. The church today must not just come down to the level of those who have fallen out of windows. The church will not just come down and be there. The church must embrace. Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth. See, when he said you're the salt of the earth, he is actually saying that we are the ones who give taste to this world. Now, if you've ever used salt, you know that you don't just have salt, but in order to cook with salt, you take the salt and you put it inside of the food, and the salt must mingle with the food. It must diffuse its taste inside of the food, and that's what God is saying to his church today. You don't just preach from a distance. You come close. You mingle. You go out there where the need is. Oh yes, it's amazing to go to a church and dress up and listen to a beautiful sermon and listen to the beautiful choir music and nice piano and maybe air condition. And that is amazing. But what about those who have fallen out of the window? What about those who are out there in need to hear the gospel of salvation that Jesus Christ has given to His church. We are the salt. The method of Jesus was that He mingled with people, showing them that He was interested in their well-being. Then He supplied their needs, and then after He had gained the confidence in them, He would say to them, "Follow me." You know, sometimes we look at people and we think there's no hope for them because of the way they dress, because of the way they look, because of the things that they do, their practice, their addictions, their habits. But there is still life in them. There's still life, and Jesus is saying to His church today, go out and embrace and touch and remind them that God still loves them. I pray that God uses us today as church, as His people, to embrace every single person, no matter what, no matter who they are. Let's embrace, let's love, because there's still life in them.